So excited to have all of you here. So please type a yes in the chat if you're excited to move forward with all this great information that all our speakers are sharing with us. All right. And now, so I want to tell you that right now we have Charlene Day, and she is going to talk to us about you are more magnificent than you think. And Charlene helps entrepreneurs and growth driven women to break hidden patterns that hold them back from fully stepping into their success. Because most are not stuck from lack of strategy, they're stuck in the subconscious patterns. Yeah. So that creates hesitation, overthinking, and self doubt. So, through her signature magnificent method, reveal, reframe, record, reinforce, and rise, Charlene helps clients identify what's really holding them back, rewire those patterns to the root level, and step into a more confident, aligned version of themselves who takes bold and consistent action. She has over 5 decades of experience. And before I give you the floor, Charlene, I just want to tell everyone that it's 80% mindset and 20% action, but we need both of them, right? We cannot just have one. The two of them, they need to work together in this space. And it is so important for us to understand that even if we have the best strategy and the best action steps, and we are able to utilize everything that Amanda just taught us, if we have these limiting beliefs holding us back, it's so much harder to get those results. So, Charlene, thank you so much for being here. And we can't wait to hear everything you have to share with us.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. So I want to start by telling you something I didn't tell anyone for a very long time. Not my family, not my friends, definitely not the people that I was in business with. There was a morning early in my entrepreneurial journey. I sat down at my desk with everything I needed to move forward. I had a list of people to call. I had a product I believed in, had a vision that excited me. I had time, and I sat there for an hour. I reorganized my desk. I went to the kitchen to finish the dishes. I checked emails and Facebook, and then before I knew it, an hour had passed, and I had not made one call. And the list just sat there, staring at me. Now I want to ask you something. Be honest, not with me, but with you. Have you ever been there? You can write it in the chat if you want, just by doing a one, I guess. You know what you need to do. You see it clearly, and there's just something inside of you that just won't move. That morning, I told myself the dishes were more important. I told myself I was waiting for the right moment. I told myself I would make the calls after lunch when I had more energy. But underneath all of that was a quieter voice saying, what if this doesn't work? What if they don't like me? What if I do everything right and I still fail? That's fear of failure. And right underneath that was another voice. Who do you think you are for doing this? That's self doubt. And then there was the size of it all, the calls, the systems, the learning curve, the follow up, the pressure. That's overwhelm. So there I was, a woman with a vision, a list, and a desk full of good intentions, and a body that was completely frozen. Not because I was lazy, not because I didn't want it badly enough, but because something invisible was already running the show. If any of these sound familiar, the hesitation, the procrastination, the doubt, the overwhelm, you can put it in the chat again with a one, but I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not failing because you lack ambition. You are responding exactly the way a nervous system responds when it's been conditioned to associate growth with risk. The beautiful thing about this is what I learned can be relearned. What, and that's what this day is all about. I've spent 50 years, actually more than 50 years, as an entrepreneur, 35 years in network marketing, and decades working in wellness and personal development. And what I eventually discovered changed everything because for me, it got worse before it got better. My deepest fear wasn't that I would fail, my deepest fear was that I would succeed. I know that sounds very strange. Why would anyone be afraid of success? But fear of success doesn't announce itself in that way. It shows up as getting close to something big, a new client, a breakthrough, a real opportunity, and then somehow letting it slip. A follow-up call that never gets made, proposal that sits in the drafts, an opportunity you convince yourself isn't quite right because success means visibility. We've heard that earlier today. Success means people watching. Success means a bigger stage. And a bigger stage means people can see you fall. Then came another voice. When something did go well, my first thought wasn't, I did it. It was, they're going to figure out I really don't know what I'm doing. That's imposter syndrome, which we've heard about today already. And when that runs long enough, it can become even heavier. It stops being, I'm not sure I belong here, and becomes, there must be something wrong with me. That kind of inner criticism is exhausting. And on top of it all was stress. Not the productive kind of stress, the chronic kind, the kind that sits on your shoulders, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the kind that makes you push harder because you think if you just do a little more, prove more, achieve more, then maybe it'll feel like enough. But it never does. And then there's one more pattern I have to name, and that one sits right at the heart of entrepreneurship and network marketing. Fear of rejection. The fear that if you make the call, start the conversation, or put yourself out there, someone may say no, and that will mean something about you. So instead of risking the no, we wait, we prepare, we polish, we delay, and the list just sits there. So let me name the 10 patterns: procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, self doubt, overwhelm, fear of success, self criticism, imposter syndrome, stress, and fear of rejection. My mentor calls these the toxic 10. And here's what I know after 50 years in entrepreneurship and 35 years in network marketing: these patterns are not rare. They are not signs that you're not good enough. They're not evidence that you chose the wrong path. They are encoded patterns, patterns learned by your nervous system through experience, fear, protection, and repetition. Your conscious mind knows what to do. It has the list, it has the goal, it has the vision, but your subconscious mind is running the program underneath. And when the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are in conflict, the subconscious wins every time. Most entrepreneurs are trying to change their lives from the keyboard while operating the system underneath is still running old code. The conscious mind is that keyboard, and the subconscious mind is the operating system that's underneath all that. And if that operating system is programmed for fear, protection, or survival, you can type all the goals and affirmations you want, but the system keeps pulling you back to where it feels safe. That is not weakness. That is how the mind works. And there's one important thing I want you to hear today. Encoded patterns can be re-encoded. What was installed can be updated. What was running in the background can be brought to the surface and replaced with something that actually serves the life and the business that you are building. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending everything is fine. It's not pushing harder. It is working with the nervous system where the pattern actually lives. That is neuroencoding. Neuroencoding is the process of recognizing the old pattern, interrupting the physical and emotional response, and installing a new pattern, a new response through experience and repetition. Because the subconscious mind does not learn through logic, it learns through experience. And that is why you can know what to do and still not do it. You can type a one in the chat if that's something you've experienced. So that's why you can read the book, write the goal, say the affirmation, and still end up back in the same pattern. The information has reached your conscious mind, but the pattern lives deeper. So neurocoding works with the body, the breath, the posture, the emotional state, and the nervous system to create a new reference point, not just a new thought, a new experience. And that's what I want to give you right now. I want you to put down your pen, close your notebook, and if your phone is out, turn it face down. And if you can, stand up and take a breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And again, breathe in and out. Now say this with me. I am more magnificent than I think. And take that in. Again, I am more magnificent than I think. Notice the shift. That is a state break. It interrupts the pattern and creates a gap. And in that gap, there is choice. Now, I want you to think of one thing that you've been putting off in your business. I've been asked this earlier, so maybe it'll come easy. One call, one conversation, one decision, one opportunity, one version of yourself that you keep almost stepping into and then stepping back from. Don't choose the safe one, choose the real one. Now imagine actually doing it. Notice what happens in your body. Is there tightness, resistance, a heaviness, a sudden urge to think about something else? A sensation that those sensations are the patterns, not character flaws. It's a physiological response. Now quietly say to yourself, I see you. I know what you are. You're a pattern, and you're not in charge of what happens next. Now close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that you did do the thing that you thought of. Not perfectly, but you did it. You made the call. You started the conversation and said yes. You took the step. It went well. and feel that in your body. Where does that land? Is there warmth or lightness or openness or even relief? Now place your right hand on your heart. Take one slow breath in. And as you breathe out, let that feeling, that new feeling, anchor in your body. This is the new reference point. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and take a seat. Just notice the room for a moment. Notice your body. Notice the difference between how that opportunity felt 10 minutes ago and how it feels now. And even if the shift is small, it matters because your nervous system just experienced something new. What it just experienced was simple but powerful. A state break, pattern interruption, and pattern recognition, a new emotional experience, an anchor. That is the beginning of re-encoding. One moment does not erase years of conditioning, but it starts something. And with repetition, the new signal gets stronger. The old pattern gets quieter. That is how change happens. Not by forcing yourself, not by shaming yourself, by re-encoding the response. This is the foundation of what I call the magnificence method. It combines the neurocoding with an inspired vision master plan because breaking the pattern is only half the equation. The other half is having something powerful enough to move towards. A vision that is aligned with who you are, what you value, and the impact you are here to make. When the internal barriers come down and the vision becomes clear, things begin to move. The calls get easier. The visibility feels safer. The conversations feel more natural. The business starts to reflect the person you were becoming all along. I want to take you back to that morning at my desk, the list, the frozen hour, the dishes, the scrolling, the excuses. I wish I could go back and tell that woman one thing, not try harder, not believe in yourself more, not push through. I would tell her the ceiling is not real. It is a pattern. And the moment you learn to recognize the pattern for what it is, instead of mistaking it for your identity, the ceiling starts to disappear. After 50 years in entrepreneurship with clients across Canada, the US, and Australia, after giving over 1,000 workshops, keynotes, seminars, this is what I know. The gap between where most people are and where they're capable of being is usually not a skills gap. It's not a strategy gap. It's not a market gap. Very often it's a pattern gap. Because when the subconscious mind is programmed for protection instead of expansion, people stay stuck below their own potential, even when they are talented, driven, and deeply capable, like everybody in this room. And that gap can be closed. If you recognize yourself in 3 or more of the toxic 10 today, that's not random. It means that likely a subconscious pattern is actively interfering with your growth right now. Not because you're incapable, not because you're lazy, but because a part of your nervous system still believes staying small is safer than being fully seen. So here's my invitation. I work with entrepreneurs and network marketers one-on-one to identify the specific patterns keeping their income, confidence, and impact below where they're capable of operating. Together, we build a personalized vision master plan that's inspired, and we use the neurocoding to begin clearing away anything that's stopping you. I offer a free consultation call, no pressure, no obligation, just a real conversation about where you are, where you want to be, and what might be standing in between those two places. And if you would like to take the quiz to discover which pattern might be holding you back, the details are going to be put in the chat because I don't think I can get the slide to work. So I want to leave you with this. Everything you felt today, the recognition, the shift, the moment something loosened, that was not me doing something to you. That was you, your nervous system, your capacity, your magnificence. So the title of this talk is not just a compliment. It is the truest thing I know after 50 years of being an entrepreneur. You are more magnificent than you think. And now you have access to a tool to begin proving it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlene. I am very excited to uh, have this link with all of you and here in the chat.
I'll put the links in now.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Carmel, would you help me? Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. So, all right. So once we have making sure there's so many messages in the chat. Great. Great, great, great. Amazing. All right. Christy, are you there by any chance? Checking in. All right. So let me talk to you a little bit about how we are actually wrapping up